Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Inconsequential Runner, and in this video, I'm doing the 400k review on the Megablast. I'm going to cover a couple of key things. One is this exposed outsole or this exposed midsole where there's very little outsole. How resilient is it? And also, if you do have a Megablast, what does it mean for your shoe rotation? How does it change things? Because it does make a marked difference, I think, to your shoe rotation as it has done to mine. Okay, let's talk about the Megablast and let's start with that exposed midsole. Just actually, before I do, I absolutely, just in case it hasn't been clear with my other reviews, I love this shoe. This shoe is my number one shoe of all time. I know a lot of people talk about the cost. I think we need to get past cost and talk about value. So, how many kilometers are you going to get out of this shoe for the cost? That's what's going to determine value. But also, another important component in the value is how good does this shoe make you feel? Now, those of you that have been following my other, I suppose I would call it a playlist or other theme of videos that I've done around my diagnosis of osteoarthritis in my knees and my hips. You'll know that I've got that challenge, which is relatively recent, and what that means for my running. But the reason why I mention that and bring that up is this shoe leaves my body in a much better position after a run than so many other shoes. And that's another reason why it is the number one shoe. I'm thinking of buying, well, I am going to get a second pair of these and rotate between them. So outsole, 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 or the exposed midsole because of the outsole. There's only one thing I want to talk about, and that is I've done 400 kilometers in the shoe, and of that, at least 100 kilometers has been on, well, it's tracks and trails and stones and the like. So stony paths. Um, and I cannot believe how well the exposed midsole has lived up to it. There was one run I have finished and I could hear something scuffing on the ground, and it was the only time ever that I've had a stone in the midsole. And I'll throw up some photos of the stone. I took some photos, and what you'll see is a sharp triangular stone, almost shaped like a pyramid. Actually, it looks a lot sharper than it is in the photos. And here is the damage that caused on the shoe. I'll just get a knife in here, and it's just this little where it was embedded in the shoe, the split. Now, this happened over 100 kilometers ago, and it hasn't got any bigger. I peeled the stone out, it hasn't got any bigger or any worse. When you consider I've done 100 kilometers over stones and only one stone has got embedded, and the rest of that exposed midsole, let's see if the camera focuses nicely on that, is just in great condition. I simply can't believe it. I cannot believe how resilient it is. Okay. 400 Ks later, the shoe feels like it did in the first 20 Ks out of the box. No difference. If anything, slightly better. But I'm really stretching my memory. It just feels great. I just keep reaching to the shoe, which guts me because there's so many other shoes I've got, which I'm just going to donate before they even get close to getting old because I simply don't need them. And I don't want to hold on to many pairs of shoes where the glue starts to dry up over time and they become useless and no value to anyone. So what does the shoe rotation look like now? Well, the Super Blast 2 used to be I suppose my core shoe. I'd build the shoe rotation around it. So I'd have my race day shoe, which would be Megas, there we go, the Meta Speed. And then my everyday training shoe would be the Nova Blast. And then when I was going a little bit further, so I'd use the Nova Blast also for recoveries. But if I was doing interval sessions and I was running to them and doing longer runs, then I'd use the Super Blast 2. Now, with the Mega Blast, I'm using the shoe for pretty much everything except for straight out racing. which means what? You can just have maybe 2 pairs of these shoes, probably 1 if you use them every second day. Um, Now I know it's expensive, great value. I know it's expensive, but it's going to do so many things for you. And when I go to park run, which isn't for me an out and out race, of course, but like all of us, when we go to park run, we try hard and we're trying to get a time, or most of us, we've got a time in mind. And I'll take these. These are the best non plated race shoes there probably are. Now, it's not a race shoe, but I'm saying in terms of shoes you can race in that are non plated, this is number one. Okay, back to the rotation. Back to the rotation. So my rotation now is this shoe is my core shoe. I'll use it for pretty much most of my, when I say most of my runs, 70% of my runs, even a recovery run, I'll reach for this. Only because I own 2 pairs of Nova Blasts, both in the fives. I just reach for these every so often. So I'm about to run to the gym and do a workout at the gym. I'm going to take the Nova Blast. Why? Because I don't want to do a workout in the Mega Blast. I want to save that. So the Nova Blast is going to be great to run to the gym and then do a workout while wearing these shoes around the gym. Then out and out race, or maybe a track session where I really want to, get the most out of it. I've done it in the Mega Blast, but the meta speed, no dramas at all. That's going to be my race shoe. So, gosh, what does it mean for this? What does it mean for the Super Blast 2? I'm not too sure what it means for the Super Blast 2 now. I still reach for it every so often, but only because I know I haven't used it for maybe, that time that week. So once a week I'll reach for it. And it's just more out of just thinking I need to use that shoe, otherwise it's never going to be used. I've got 2 Super Blast 2s left. They've got a lot of life in them. One's done over 1,000 kilometers, still a lot of life. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with those, to be honest. I'm not going to buy any other shoes, I think, for a little while. I want to. There's so many good shoes out there that have been released, but I simply don't need them. Which brings me to my final point, which is I am worried about what they're going to do with the Mega Blast in version 2. It is so good, and I wonder if it's cannibalized for some others. This is a much firmer shoe, so maybe not for some others, but for those like me, it's cannibalized a lot of miles off the Super Blast. But what Asics has to remember is I'm an Asics fan, because even more so now because of the shoe. So let's not get cute, Asics, about knocking out or differentiating the shoes too much. So yeah, I don't know what is going to happen with the Mega Blast 2. I hope it's a refinement of the Mega Blast 1, though, to be honest, if they didn't change it for the next year and a bit, it wouldn't worry me at all. So that's the rotation, which I kind of like. I think I've gone past the point of owning 20 shoes and enjoying owning 20 shoes, 20 pairs of shoes. It's ridiculous. So getting down to something like 4 pairs of shoes, 5 pairs of shoes, including some trail shoes, then perfect. And the the Mega Blast will help with that. Okay, that's it. Look, so much more could probably cover. But if you have any specific questions, throw them in the comments and I will answer that specific question for you about the Mega Blast or the rotation that I'm now using. All right, take care. Catch you in the next one.